Close your eyes and imagine you're in a big meeting room. People are gathered together. Some are talking with excitement. They have many different ideas. They are some of the smartest people you know. They've all gathered together to solve a major problem. It's not just any meeting, it's one of the most important gatherings in American history. This special meeting was called the Constitutional Convention, and it took place in 1787 in Philadelphia. What these people did at the convention changed the course of history and created the government of the United States. Back in the late 1700s, the United States was a young country trying to figure out how to run itself. After winning independence from Britain, the colonies had come together to form a new nation. But there was a big problem. The system of government they had wasn't working very well. The country was run by a document called the Articles of Confederation, but this plan of government had many flaws. It gave too much power to individual states and not enough to the central government. As a result, the country faced many challenges, including money problems, disagreements between states, and difficulties in dealing with other countries. To fix these problems, leaders from the states decided they needed a new plan. They called for a special meeting, known as the Constitutional Convention, to come up with a better way to govern the country. The convention took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it started on May 25, 1787. The city of Philadelphia was a bustling place, full of people eager to see what the leaders would come up with. The meeting was held in a building called Independence Hall, the same place where the Declaration of Independence had been signed. The room was hot and stuffy, and the representatives spent long hours discussing and debating ideas. They knew that their work would have a big impact on the future of the country and the world, and they wanted to make sure they got it right. One of the most important figures at the convention was George Washington. Washington was not only the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army during the American Revolution, but also a respected leader who was chosen to lead the convention. His role was to guide the discussions and keep things organized. Washington's presence gave the convention a sense of importance and helped to ensure that the leaders took their work seriously. Leaders from the different states were called delegates. Another key figure was James Madison, who is often called the father of the Constitution. Madison was a brilliant thinker and a strong advocate for a new system of government. He came to the convention with a clear plan in mind, and he worked tirelessly to promote his ideas. Madison's notes from the convention provide valuable insights into what was discussed and how decisions were made. His contributions were crucial in shaping the final document. Benjamin Franklin was another important figure at the convention. Franklin was an older leader known for his wisdom and experience. He had a calming influence on the discussions and helped to mediate disagreements between delegates. Franklin's ability to bring people together and find common ground was important in reaching an agreement on the new plan of government. Most of the leaders had different ideas about how the new government should be run. This is one reason why the convention was important. It's important that people with different ideas can come together, argue their ideas, and then agree on what is best for the people who voted for them. Have you ever had a disagreement with your siblings? Sometimes it's easier to want to fight physically over what to do. Instead, if you've talked through the options together and come to an agreement, that's better than fighting. This is a democracy where people can come together and decide what is best by argument and voting rather than war. At the Constitutional Convention, one major debate was about how states should be represented in the new government. Some delegates, like those from larger states, wanted it to be based on the number of people in each state. Others from smaller states wanted equal representation for each state, regardless of size. For example, each state would have 2 representatives. To resolve this issue, the delegates came up with a compromise known as the Great Compromise. This plan created a 2-house legislature, or Congress, with a Senate and a House of Representatives. In the Senate, each state would have an equal number of representatives, while in the House of Representatives, the number of representatives would be based on the population of each state. This compromise helped to balance the interests of both large and small states. After several months of intense debate and discussion, the delegates finally finished their work. On September 17, 1787, they signed the new document, which was called the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution established a new system of government with three branches: the legislative branch, Congress; the executive branch, the President; and the judicial branch, the courts. This system was made so that no one branch of government would have too much power and that each branch could check and balance the others. This kept the government fair and equal and didn't give too much power to a single person or group of people. The Constitution also included a list of rights and freedoms. This list was known as the Bill of Rights, and it guaranteed basic freedoms such as freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to a fair trial. The Bill of Rights was added to the Constitution shortly after it was made, and it remains an important part of American law. The Constitution was also designed so it could be changed. It needed to be flexible. Its creators knew that times would change and ideas would change, and it would need to change with the growing nation. For example, the first version of the Constitution allowed slavery. This later changed with the 13th Amendments. Amendments were changes made to the Constitution. The 15th Amendment gave African American men the right to vote. Then in 1920, the 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote too. The work of the Constitutional Convention had a huge impact on the future of the United States. The new Constitution provided a plan for the government and helped to create a better nation. It has had a lasting impact on American society. It is the oldest written national constitution still in use today, and it has served as a model for other countries around the world. The words in the Constitution continue to guide the United States and influence how the country is governed. The Constitutional Convention also introduced the idea of compromise as an important part of the political process. The delegates had to find ways to agree on issues despite their differences. Their ability to reach compromises helped to create a successful document. This lesson in compromise remains relevant in today's politics and government. The Constitution is also celebrated in various ways. September 17th, the day the Constitution was signed, is known as Constitution Day. It is a time to remember the importance of the Constitution and the contributions of the delegates who worked to create it. Schools and communities often hold events and activities to honor this important day and educate people about the Constitution. In conclusion, the Constitutional Convention was a crucial moment in American history. The delegates who gathered in Philadelphia in 1787 worked hard to create a new plan for governing the country, and their efforts resulted in the United States Constitution. The Constitution established a strong and effective government, protected individual rights, and set the stage for the future growth of the nation. The work of the Constitutional Convention continues to influence American society today. The principles and ideas outlined in the Constitution remain central to the country's identity and values. As we remember the Constitutional Convention and the creation of the Constitution, we honor the vision and dedication of the delegates and celebrate the enduring impact of their work.